Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will explore the top 10 great detective games that you should play if you love solving puzzles and cracking cases. From classic point-and-click adventures to modern open-world investigations, these games will keep you on the edge of your seat and make you feel like a real detective. Let's begin with number 10 on our list. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is a critically acclaimed detective RPG with a macabre and complex story. It is set in a fantasy city called Rivakal, where you play as an amnesiac cop who has to solve a murder case and deal with his own inner demons. The game features a unique skill system, where you can interact with 24 different aspects of your personality, such as logic, empathy, drama, and electrochemistry. The game also has a lot of choices and consequences, as you can align yourself with different political ideologies, factions, and characters. Her Story is a game that lets you explore a murder mystery through a series of video clips. You play as an unnamed investigator who has access to an old police database containing the interviews of a woman who is suspected of killing her husband. The game is non-linear and interactive, meaning that you can search for any word or phrase and watch the clips that contain them. The game does not tell you what to look for or how to interpret the story, so you have to piece together the clues and decide for yourself what really happened. L.A Noire is a game that combines elements of action, adventure, and detective work in a realistic and immersive recreation of 1940s Los Angeles. You play as Cole Phelps, a former war hero who joins the LAPD and rises through the ranks of different departments, such as traffic, homicide, vice, and arson. You have to investigate various crimes, collect clues, interrogate suspects, and chase down criminals, while also dealing with the corruption and politics of the city. Call of Cthulhu is a game based on the works of the famous horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. It is a mix of adventure, investigation, and psychological horror, where you play as a private detective who is hired to solve a mysterious case involving a family's death in a remote island. The game features a dark and atmospheric story where you have to explore various locations, find clues, interrogate suspects, and face the horrors of the unknown. The Wolf Among Us is a game that is based on the comic book series Fables, which tells the stories of fairy tale characters living in a hidden community in New York City. You play as Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, who has to investigate a series of murders and mysteries involving the Fables. The game is a point-and-click adventure where you have to explore different locations, collect clues, interrogate suspects, and make choices that affect the outcome of the story. The game is divided into 5 episodes, each with its own plot and twists. Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened is a game that combines elements of adventure, investigation, and horror based on the works of Arthur Conan Doyle and H.P. Lovecraft. You play as the famous detective Sherlock Holmes, who has to solve a series of mysterious and gruesome cases involving a cult that worships an ancient evil. The game features a realistic and immersive recreation of 19th century London and other locations, where you have to explore, collect clues, interrogate suspects, and make deductions. The game also has a branching storyline, where your choices and actions affect the outcome of the story and the fate of the characters. Heavy Rain is a game that lets you experience a gripping and emotional story of 4 characters who are connected by a serial killer known as the Origami Killer. The game is a blend of adventure, investigation, and interactive drama, where your choices and actions have consequences for the outcome of the story. The game features realistic graphics, voice acting, and motion capture, as well as a dynamic soundtrack that adapts to the situation. Condemned: Criminal Origins is a game that puts you in the shoes of Ethan Thomas, an FBI agent who is on the trail of a serial killer. The game is set in a dark and gritty urban environment, where you have to fight your way through hordes of violent and deranged criminals using melee weapons and firearms. The game is not for the faint of heart, as it features realistic and brutal combat, disturbing imagery, and a tense and immersive atmosphere. Pentiment is a historical-inspired game featuring Andreas Mahler, an artist involved in murder investigations in Tassie. The game's art style is inspired by Renaissance manuscripts, and the sound design and voice acting add realism. Players explore the town, interact with characters, gather clues, and prioritize actions to determine the story's outcome.